Once there was a man, and his name was Mr. Barcalow, to be exact, and he prided himself on his tact. And he said, "One thing about an apple, it may have a worm in it, and one thing about a chimney, it may have soot in it, but one thing about my mouth, I never put my foot in it." Whenever Mr. Barcalow entered a community, he inquired of his host and hostess what topics he could discuss with impunity. So no matter beside whom he was deposited, why, he could talk to them without disturbing any skeletons that should have been kept closeted. But one dire day he went to visit some friends, and he started asking tactful questions about untactful conversational trends. And his host said that here was one place that Mr. Barcalow wouldn't need his tact, because taboos and skeletons were what everybody there lacked. And his hostess said, "Oh yes, but you'd better steer away from education when you talk to the senator, because somebody said his 17-year-old nephew would have to burn down the schoolhouse to get out of the 3rd grade, and his nephew overheard them and did burn down the schoolhouse, including the music teacher and the janitor." And his host said, "Oh yes, and if you talk about love and marriage to Mrs. Musker, don't be surprised if her eye sort of wanders, because her daughter is the one with the divorce suit with the 37 co-responders." And Mr. Barcalow said, "Well, can I talk about sports?" And his hostess said, "Well, maybe you'd better not, because Louise's sister, the queer one, was asked to resign from the club because she went out to play moonlight tennis in shorts." And Mr. Barcalow said, "That's not so terrible, is it? Everybody wears shorts." And his hostess said, "Yes, but she forgot the shorts." So Mr. Barcalow said, "Well then, what about the weather?" And his hostess said, "Well, that's what we used to discuss when we got together, but it has recently become a pleasure we must defer, because Jane's Aunt Julie is here from California, and she seems to think that every remark about the weather is a personal affront to her." So Mr. Barcalow said, "The hell with you all," and went upstairs and packed, and that was the last that was ever heard of Mr. Barcalow and his tact.